I'm Jeffrey Overstreet, and I teach film classes, creative writing classes, and academic writing classes at Seattle Pacific. And with me this morning is Associate Professor of Theology Brian Bantum, who is also the author of two books, The Death of Race, Building a New Christianity in a Racial World, and Redeeming Mulatto, A Theology of Race and Christian Hybridity. So it's my privilege this morning to hear from an expert on many of the questions explored in Black Panther.
Thanks, Jeff. I am really excited about Black Panther, both in terms of obviously just its success. So to see something that's been done by with an African-American director, writer, cast, and to have it be received like so enthusiastically, I think is just an incredible affirmation of Black art and Black intellectual life and Black beauty. But I think at the same time, even in the midst of that, it's not hagiography. You know, it's not an idealization, and it actually, part of what's so cathartic about it is it captures the fundamental questions I think that mark Black existence kind of in a post-colonial world, which is, what do we do with the privilege that we have, and how do we overcome the challenges and the racism and the legacies that shape our lives? And that those aren't easy questions to answer. And in a way, there's no good way to address it. Every option is kind of fraught in its own way. And so I appreciated the fact that the film just dragged us right into the middle of that question and didn't try to dance around it.
Films like this feel like they give us new vocabularies, new ways to talk about things. Can you talk about any specifics in the film?
I think one of the things that I hear over and over again and that I loved about it was just the strength and the power of Black women in the film, especially.
Yeah, definitely.
And the ways in which the kind of quote-unquote hero, T'Challa, at the end really does need a wider community of folks in order to both come to a kind of realization of what it is that he ought to do, but to actually make it come into fruition, right? It's not this kind of singular individual who's going to overcome, but it is very much a kind of communal kind of vision of what does it mean what is it that we ought to be in that way.
So on April 6th, we've discussed Black Panther with students, with other faculty, and we would like to share some of the conversation with you, where we wrestled some of the questions raised by this film.
Welcome, everybody. It's so good to see so many people. This is awesome. Yes, my name is Dr. Brian Bantum, and I teach theology here, as well as co-direct the newly launching social justice and cultural studies major. So that's one of the things I loved about the movie, was the fact that it was willing to kind of tell that subtleties and even show that subtlety was not just between two individuals, but within the community, right? That the community was trying to figure out who should we follow and how do we live into this. So in all of those ways, really beautiful. But the thing that I felt hard about it, though, was in some ways that was the easy move to make. It was the easy move to make. Well, what do I mean by this? Well, notice the really subtle shift of the CIA figure, right? From being the person that wanted to kind of basically invade Wakanda. Has anybody seen the animated series, 6-part series? Released, I think it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. BET just reran it. So look up Black Panther. It's part of the Marvel, Knights of Marvel series. So interesting. They made some very different decisions in that one. So in that one, you kind of open up and you find out what Wakanda is, and then you switch to the White House. And in the White House we found a large deposit of vibranium underneath this mysterious jungle. they call it Wakanda. How should we get in there? How can we topple the government? They have a person named Donda Lisi or something like this. And so it's basically the Bush White House. And so you see basically a plot to intervene in the power struggle, to take advantage of it and take over Wakanda's resources, right? So that's not what this movie did, right? The CI guy is kind of the bumbling, I don't really know, white guy who's well-meaning, managed to fly an alien, basically alien ship, like almost instantly, and is a really like lovely comedic foil. Yay, CIA, right? And you're like, ah. So in a way, what the movie did was actually take kind of the easy way out by saying, we're actually going to talk about our internal conflict rather than talk about the reality that made this conflict necessary, which is colonialism, white supremacy, and an enduring colonial state that continues to abuse dark peoples of the world.